Welcome to White Glove Trucking, my channel dedicated to helping you use trucking as a vehicle to live your best life. I'm EJ Anderson, the congressional auditor turned long haul truck blogger. Okay, so today's video is all about trucking and retirement. So I'm just basically gonna tell you guys kind of like my thinking. I've thought a lot about this recently, and so I figured I would share it and hopefully it's helpful to somebody. So in today's video, I want to talk about four things, right? I want to talk about why having a business pursuit in retirement is so important and why everybody can have it. For the second thing, I want to talk about van life versus trucking life and why I think trucking won out for me. I want to talk about how to figure out your cost in trucking so that you can truck the absolute minimum. And then lastly, I just want to touch on a little bit the new Trump capital gains 0% tax rate, because I think that can be very beneficial. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is why having a business pursuit is so important and how anybody can have it, right? So the first part of that is, since starting my trucking company, like I've learned how having a business unlocks all these deductions that makes my money go so much farther, right? So I can save money on food, I can save money on the cost of the truck, I can save money on the fuel, like all these things add up, right? And depending on your tax rate, it adds up to a savings of like 10 to 37%. So, and the reason why anybody can have this, right? The stipulation or the requirement that the IRS uses to determine whether something is a hobby versus a business is if you have the intent to make money off of it, right? You have the intent to make a profit. So in this modern age, when everybody has social media accounts, right? Like I got a YouTube channel. Does it make money? No. Do I intend for it to make money? Sure. I have an Instagram account, right? Does it make money? No. Do I intend? Sure. Anybody in this modern time can just do a couple of videos, put a couple of photographs, and you've got yourself a business pursuit that you intend to make money. And then that unlocks all these tax benefits, right? And depending on your tax rate, you're looking at 10 to 37% tax savings on, or 10 to 30% savings on these items. That's the first one, right? Having a business pursuit helps your money go farther. Now, so then I was thinking about trucking and retirement, right? So I've always toyed around with the idea of going from trucking straight to van life, like basically trading in that last truck, and I'm already used to the road and I like being on the road, and just buying a van and then doing van life. And so I thought, well, I can use all this knowledge I have about having a business in trucking and put that to the van life, right? I could save on the price, the rent for a lease on the van, which is like your house. You're saving on a lease on your house at that point. I can save on the fuel to get from point A to point B. I can save on food while I'm out on the road doing my photography Instagram business from the van or whatever. Now, food is not as good as trucking. So trucking is like $80 per day in terms of deductions for food. And once you're in a van, you know, it's more expensive, so it's like 50% for your meals, right? So it's not as good, but it's still good. That's still really good. So I had all this planned out. I was thinking about doing this for the van life thing. But I realized that I love the purpose that trucking gives me, right? I love waking up every day, having a mission, something to do. That just gives me a good feeling. So I realized it's not that I want to go from trucking to van life. I want to see if I can truck in the most minimal way possible to where this feels like retirement, right? So I was like, okay, how would I do that? So first of all, I would want to drive just the minimum amount to where I felt so happy and joyful and I was loving every mile. So I wouldn't want to drive one more mile than the point where I was just loving it and looking forward to it, right? So that's one way. But then I thought, okay, it's trucking, it's a business. You still have cost. So there's a balance there, right? You have to balance just driving enough that feels good, which could be, shoot, I don't know, maybe that would end up being 2 loads a month or 1 load a week. But you have to balance that with paying off those costs that are associated with having a trucking business, right? So then I decided, well, let me just figure out. I had never really done this before. Like, what do I actually need to work? How much do I need to work to make the bare minimum, right? So I started plugging in the numbers. I have a fixed cost of $2,300 per month, which is that's my cost if I do not even move the truck, if it just sat there and I didn't move. So then I have a variable cost of 60 cents per mile, which is for every mile I drive, it's costing me 60 cents. And so then I just got my revenue, which on the last video I did, it was like $1.75 a mile. So I just used that. And I started plugging all this in. And so on week 1, right, you got $1.75 times 2,500 miles is $43.75. And then I take out the fixed cost of $2,300 and the variable cost of 60 cents a mile times 2,500 miles is $1,500. That leaves me with a profit in week 1 of $575. So then in week 2, I've got my revenue again, $1.75 miles, $1.75 a mile times 2,500 miles gives me that $43.75 minus my variable cost of $1,500. That leaves me with $28.75. And if I add to it from week 1, add the $575 from week 1, I have a total after week 2 of $34.50. And pretty much that would be enough for me to live on the rest of the month. So that would be how much I would have to work in total if I just wanted to work my bare minimum. But there's a big caveat to this. So the way I'm able to keep my costs so low is by saving up for my next truck in advance. So in reality, unless I'm on my last truck, that $34.50 after week 2 is really going toward the second truck or the next truck. So then I would have to work in week 3 to make the money I would need to live off of, right? So basically how that worked out is like week 1 is basically covering the fixed costs. Week 2 is for the new truck. And then week 3 is me. And then week 4, I'm off. So that's kind of that was kind of surprising for me because I had never broke it down that way to see, like I'm just used to kind of driving, just kind of steady most of the month, So I never really broke it down to see how little I would have to drive if I really just wanted to drive the minimum. So there's a way you can kind of figure it out. And I'm showing you guys my cost here because I'm pretty lean. Like I pay a lot of attention to this stuff. I think I do it in a way that's very, very lean. So you can look at this and you can know this is possible in terms of how little cost you could have trucking and how little you would need to work. For example, if you're somebody who works on your truck and you can keep an older truck, you're done after week 2, You wouldn't have to worry about, you wouldn't have to worry about buying a new truck. So, there's something to think about. Okay, now one last thing I want to talk about. And I'm just going to throw this in here because I just think it's so important, the amount of money you can save from this. And it matters in retirement because every dollar amount matters in retirement, or if you're trying to work it to where you only have to truck as minimal as possible. Okay, so this is the new Trump 0% capital gains tax rate. All right, so now with this new tax rate, as long as you're single, you make up to $48,350 income. Or if you're married, $97,700 income, you can sell your investments in a taxable account, right? So this is money you just have invested, not in retirement. You can sell this money and pay 0 taxes up to that income amount, okay? So that's huge, right? I did a video a while back that talked about doing a Roth conversion. So now that you've got this business, right, this business pursuit with all our deductions, we might have a negative income or really low income in a given year based on all of our deductions, right? So I'm gonna use this example. Let's say I've got a negative $10,000 income for that year. Now, in my last video, I told you about how to do a Roth conversion to take your retirement money in your retirement account and use it to convert it to bring your income from -10 up to 0, so that what you would normally have to pay taxes on that money, you're not paying any taxes because you don't have any. It's just taking your income up to 0. You don't have any income. Okay. So now with this new capital gains tax or 0% tax rate up to $48,350. So in this example, you would use your retirement account to bring your -10 up to 0, and then you would sell your investments in your taxable just brokerage account up to $48,350, and you're paying no taxes. Now, in my opinion, with this new rule, if you have long-term investments that you've held over a year and that have gained, you should never ever have income less than $48,350, because you should always take your income up to that amount and sell those investments, not pay any taxes on them. Even if you decide to just go ahead and rebuy the investments, even if you like your investment, you're like, oh, I don't want to sell it, it's going up. Sell it, don't pay any taxes on the gains you've already made, and reconfigure that cost basis, buy them again, and now you've restarted your cost basis. Anyway, so that 0% tax strategy or tax capital gain strategy, in conjunction with having your business pursuit using these deductions, is just a powerful way to make your money go so much farther, especially if you're out on the road, because in trucking, you've got all your deductions, your $80 a day per diem. In van life, I just use that example in van life too, you got all those deductions. So anyway, I've just been thinking about all this all month, and I think it could be powerful if you kind of put this stuff together. And I figured I would just do this video. I know it got a little bit technical with the financial stuff, and also you're like, van life, this is a trucking channel, whatever, but hey, this is what I was thinking about. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.